My name is Akisha Mullins, and this is a special edition of the Yak Report. On today's show, I'm going to be talking about generational curses, or rather, how can we break these generational curses? What are generational curses? Basically, yes, generational curses. Because here's the problem. We live in a society where they like to turn things that are serious into a cliche, as if there is a game, there's make-believe, it's not true, it's something that is non-existent. But the thing is, when it comes to generational curses, they never fully explain what a generational curse is. When in fact, a generational curse is when from one generation to the next, you continually push bad behavior, or a generational curse is continuing bad behavior passed down from one generation to the next. For some of you, you still may not understand what that may mean, but you may have heard someone in your family, most likely a parent, grandparent, aunt, uncle, cousin, who is about 10 to 20 years older than you, who have said, it happened to me, I didn't have a father, I worked 20,000 jobs, and anything else you want to add that lets you know, like, if you didn't like it, why are you passing it down to your children? That's what it means that's what a generational curse means. It means that if you know that a two-parent household is what's best for a child, and you felt some kind of way, you felt left out, you felt alone, or a piece was missing because you only had your mother there and not your father, or you just had your father there and not your mother, or you didn't have your mother or your father there because you had to be raised by your grandparent or an aunt or an uncle or someone else in your family. These are what generational curses are. These are the things that we have to fix when it comes to a generational curse. And here's the thing, how do you break a generational curse? Well, you break a generational curse by being better than your parents, being better than your grandparents, being better than those in your family. I don't mean as being better as in you saying, oh, I'm better than you, as in the way that Lucifer and his demon horde would look at people and individuals, as you can see how, people do today. But what I mean by that is, doing better is, if you know, I'll put it to you like this. Speaking from a male's perspective, because that's the only perspective that I can truly speak from wholeheartedly. A male growing up without a father understands what it is like to grow up without a father. And if that said male goes out into the world and procreates, and then does not be in that child's life, because the fact that he already knew what it was like not to have a father, not to be raised by a father, not to know the love of a father, to then go on and do that same bad behavior to their child, where they created the child, but then they leave the child's life. Whether or not the mother wants to be with the father, that father still has a responsibility to that child. How to break the curse? Be different, be better. Find the balance within yourself by working through your trauma. In order for you to become whole, to be at peace with yourself, to get the things in life that you believe you deserve, the things in the life that you believe that you want, you believe that should be rightfully yours by birthright, you have to go and do some work on yourself internally. You have to go and heal your childhood trauma. When people are told to go and heal childhood trauma, they don't understand what that is. But in fact, you do. It's the trauma that you don't want to look at. The things that happened to you in your youth that you felt was so horrible and that your family wanted to ignore. Your family told you to ignore it. It's not true. Oh, don't pay it no mind. Oh, my daddy did that to me. My mama was like that to me. My grandparents was angry to me. They did this, they did that, yada, yada, yada. No, it's not right. It is wrong. And for those of you who go into the church house on a Sunday, and from Monday to Saturday, you ignore all the teachings that you supposedly learned on a Sunday because pastor inside the church house didn't teach you anything. He taught you only one lesson, one thing to do when it comes to serving God, which is not true. The only thing the pastors teach you is to go into your pocket and give them money. God is not in money. Lucifer is in money. His demon horde is in money. God is not in money. God is in service. God is in love. So when I say that you have to go in and heal your childhood trauma, whether or not the individual that caused that childhood trauma is there, willing to accept their fault and what it was that they did to you to cause your pain, whether or not they want to admit it, apologize, or whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, this is about you, your soul, your spirit, and where you will spend the rest of eternity. Because if you haven't noticed now, we're not in the same world that we used to be in. Everything has changed. Everything is different. You have to start healing childhood traumas. Because your childhood trauma that you didn't heal spilled into your teenage trauma that you didn't heal, which then spilled into your adult trauma that you didn't heal, which all circles back around to that childhood trauma. Because if you heal your childhood trauma, you can heal your teenage trauma, which will heal your adult trauma, which will then help your inner child to grow, help you to connect with your soul, which would then help you connect and reach your God mode. When Jesus said, I'm sorry, not Jesus, because that's wrong. When the Messiah told you that he was going to build his church on Peter, the thing is you have to learn how the Messiah works, how the Messiah speaks. Everything is in riddles and parables. The only way to figure it out, you got to be born with your soul. You got to be aligned. You got to have that Christ consciousness. All of us have the Christ consciousness if we choose to come from that fallen place and rise back up. Learn forgiveness. This is something that I had to learn myself. Because I thought that I was forgiving people. I thought that I did forgive people. But then I learned that really I don't believe that I was forgiving people. I thought I did. But then I was still holding on to what they did, which let me know that I did not forgive them. Because if you forgive and you still hold on to what someone did to you, you did not forgive them, and you're also punishing and hurting yourself because of what they did, which to me is a definition of insanity. You don't forgive people for them, you forgive people for yourself. You don't focus on the pain, you focus on the lesson. Because when you focus on the lesson, you realize there was something in there for you to learn to better yourself, to make you a better person, a better human being. Also giving you the tools to better help someone else, to be a service to someone else who you can see going through the same thing that you went through or a similar thing that you went through, and you will have the words, have the teaching, and have the understanding to help that individual. And not for a monetary reason, but because your soul called you to do it. And because it feels right. You have to love yourself and do right by yourself. And what do I mean when I say you have to love yourself and do right by yourself? Well, if you continually allow someone to mistreat you, to hurt you, and then they give you a trinket to make you feel better because they need you. They don't want you to go nowhere. I was just playing, but you weren't playing. They hurt you. They didn't apologize. They didn't change because they hurt you this way 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, on and on and on and on and on. To the point where now you convince yourself that this is normal. This is okay. And that is how generational curses are created. And those are wrong. See, when you know better, you do better. The only people who don't want to face the things that they have done wrong to themselves and to others are people who are afraid of the truth, because they have gotten so used to living in this demonic system that they don't want to leave it. Because right here, they don't want to let the pain go because the pain feels good. You don't want the misery go because the misery feels good. But you don't understand that the pain, the misery, the not forgiving, the not learning, the not growing is aging you. It's killing your cells. It's causing you to have cancer, causing you to have depression, causing you to have mental illness, causing you to have all kinds of problems within your body because you're harboring anger, you're harboring hate, you're harboring jealousy. The church will have you feel that doing and following the 10 Commandments is boring, that it's hard, but it's not, because you can do whatever you want on this planet if you just do the first thing, which is love yourself. If you love yourself, you'll love your spouse. If you love yourself and your spouse love themselves, and the two of you become one, and then when you have the children, you will love the children. And then the children will love themselves, then the children will love you, and then that's how you start to spread the love and spread it out. When you see bad traits start to show up in that child is when you should turn those things around. But you want to know what you did? You sat back and you watched these children use profanity, and you thought it was cute. You laughed. But it's only cute until they get older. Once they reach a certain age, it's no longer cute. Now you're evil, you're a demon, you're bad. But that was what you cultivated. When you seen them doing what they was doing, instead of you correcting it right then and there, you turned a blind eye and you thought that it was funny. And then now that they're out here in the streets selling drugs, gang banging, stealing cars, shooting people, robbing the elderly, you want to demonize the children that you created. You want to say that, oh, this is bad. What is going on? How did it get this way? How about you get off of social media, stop watching reality television, and look at that child that's sitting right next to you. Listen to them children running throughout your house and listen to what they're saying and what they're doing to each other. That's showing you what kind of child you're cultivating. That's showing you how you're continuing to push them generational curses. Stop having grown-up conversations in front of the children, around the children. Because that's how you're shaping their minds into being just like you, being hurt like you, disappointed like you, and they've never even had a chance. In order to end generational curses, you have to reprogram yourself, relearn on your own by meditating, becoming one with yourself, listening to your ancestors, your spirit guides, and let them show you the truth. Because so-called African Americans, we are not African Americans, we are not African, we are not none of those things. We never was taken from Africa and brought here. This is our land. This was always our land. All they did was what Moses did in the Bible. They waited out for 40 years until the ones who knew died off, and they brainwashed the children. You don't believe me? Look at what they did now. From the 80s till now, education and what we were taught from the 80s till now is different. Every 10 years, they change what it is that they're teaching the children, because what I was taught is not the same thing my children is taught. Not the same beliefs, nothing. And that's the reason why they have been able to stay in power for so long, because we never had oral traditions. Well, we never had written down traditions. We have hieroglyphics because we are the Egyptians. We've already been here all over the world. We were invaded, but that's another story for another time. This here right here is for you to go within to get that understanding of yourself, so you can understand how to fix the generation curses in your family. Because all the children that are being born now, those that are called divine beings, star seeds, and all the others, are here to fix the problem. They wanted you to believe that after the Messiah was supposed to have been crucified on the cross, that the angels just disappeared. They never contacted humanity anymore. And again, I'm here to tell you that that is a lie. The Messiah never left. The angels never left. Lucifer and his demon horde surely never left. Because all you have to do is look out in the world. Look at the governments. Look at how everybody is doing. Look at those who worship the dollar versus loving themselves and the true and living God. Lucy is not a god. He's a falling angel, a disgraced angel, a jealous angel, because he wanted to be God. He wanted to be the Messiah, but that job ain't easy. It's not about the title of being God or being the Messiah. There's a lot that goes into it. See, everybody wants to be the man, but they don't want to do what is required to do the job. They want the reward, but they don't want to do the job. They want the fame, they want the acclaim, but they don't want to do the job. And that's why Lucy and his demon horde are angry. It's also time for you to cleanse house. Time to detox. As you see, it is getting hotter and hotter and hotter outside. It's because it's time for us to go out there and get that vitamin D. Because after I finish recording this video here today, I'm going to go back out and finish sunbathing. Because it's not hot to me. This sun feels different than the sun that I used to remember. This sun feels good. This sun feels like love. And normally when I used to sweat, I used to be angry because I hate sweating. I hate being all sweaty and in your clothes. But the ancestors, the true and living God, has helped me to understand that when we sweat in this sun, is because we are detoxing our body of all the toxic chemicals that they put in the air, they put in the food, of all the negative feelings and all the negativity that we have harbored inside of us, all comes out. All gets pulled out and get purified by the light. When I say detox, when you finally do and walk your spiritual path, which is the only true path on this planet before we were invaded, like I said, you've already seen what was going on, and if you don't know, it's just because you don't want to know. But you have to detox. You have to meditate. You have to follow your ancestors. And when you start doing that, you're going to start finding that the more you start coming in alignment with yourself, the more you start seeing the BS in this world for what it is, the more you'll start distancing yourself from things, from people, places, and things that are not in your highest good or your best interests. That could be family, friends, relationships, situationships, third parties, and entanglements. You will distance yourself from anything and anyone that is not serving your highest good, your greatest good. Because you weren't created to be anyone's footstool. You weren't created to be anyone's doormat. You weren't created to be anyone's pincushion. You weren't created to be anyone's, oh, just wait right there and maybe someday when I feel like getting back around to you, I'll come around to you. You weren't meant to wait on anyone to love you. Because I don't know no kings or queens, as you all like to call yourselves, who want to be mistresses or in the third party situation and not be number one. Because everybody that knows me knows that I tell you from the door, I don't care who you are. I come second to no one. I know my worth. I'm number one. I also don't need to surround myself with people, with family, friends, and relationships and situationships that I know don't serve me, because I know my worth. I will ride by myself alone before I sit and feel alone in a room full of people. So as I said, ladies and gentlemen, this is a special edition of the Yak Report. This is an edition of the Yak Report where I'm no longer focused on the ills that are going on in the world. You want to find that out? You go and find those people who are eloquently presenting the information and getting the information out there to the masses. We have starseeds and light beings and divine beings out here now who are telling you, letting you know, deciphering our true history, deciphering the history of this planet. You want to know those things? Go reach them out. You want to know how to better yourself? You can go and look for those individuals that are out there, because that's their job to teach you. My job is to just point you in the direction to begin the process of healing yourself and healing the roots, your family roots that connects to our world tree. Because when it's all said and done, everyone's not going to make it to the new world. But we already know that. This is the reason why we tell you, you have to pray. You have to meditate. You have to elevate. You have to raise your vibration. You have to spread love, live in love. No more jealousy, no more pain, no more envy, no more cheating, no more being a side chick, the side dude. No more coveting what is someone else's. No more hoarding money, coveting money, worshiping money. Because if you look like me, and you sitting here calling yourself a god and a goddess, a king and a queen, that's blasphemy. And the true and living God does not know you, cannot hear you. Because when you worship money, you worship Lucy and his demon horde. But when you do the job, when you spread love, when you heal your family, when you save the children, then and only then can you call yourself a god and a goddess, a king and a queen, and the true and living God will send you the reward for doing the job. This is the end game, ladies and gentlemen. Before you can help anyone else, before you can do anything for anyone, even the children, you have to save yourself first. Because if you don't save yourself first, all you doing is being the blind, leading the blind. And that, my friend, right now, is not an area you would like to be in. My name is Akashic Mullins, and this is the Yak Report. What say you? Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. I'm Akashic Mullins, and this is the Yak Report.